Hey guys, welcome back to Big Gav Sports Talk. I am your host, Big Gav, and in this next video in my 2022 offseason review series, I'm going to be taking a look at none other than the Green Bay Packers. I know some folks out there have been waiting patiently and anxiously for my takes on the Pack and how they've handled the 2022 offseason up to this point, but before we get into that, I want to take a moment to again thank anyone and everyone who left a like and or comment on either one of my last two videos. You guys are awesome, and I really appreciate the continued support here. To anybody that has subscribed in the past week, thank you as well for that and for becoming a part of this channel as I continue to grow this thing with you guys. And the videos here are not going to stop. They're going to keep rolling out here every single week at Big Gav Sports Talk, so please stay tuned for that. And for anyone who is new to the channel and this is your first time here, I want to welcome you and hope that you find the content here enjoyable. If you do enjoy this video, feel free to check out the other reviews I have posted up on the channel right now, actually. So the moment you're done with this video, go ahead and check out the other two I have posted. Now, I know these videos have been 25 plus minutes in length up to this point, so I don't want to waste any more time than I have to here with this intro. So let's go ahead and jumpstart the action right away by seeing what Green Bay did to fill all the holes and all those cheeseheads during the 2022 NFL offseason. Let's start off by taking a look at the playoff success the Packers have had over the last few seasons and how they got to this point. Well, looking at it from a casual fan's perspective, the Packers did pretty well last year, going 13-4, walking away with yet another NFC North crown, securing the #1 seed in the NFC playoffs, and Aaron Rodgers still being a majority shareholder of the Chicago Bears. But on a more serious note, to Packers fans across the globe, we all know what happens next, and I do apologize for having to show this again, but let's all remember that it's strictly for context. So, with that said, take it away.
And they're able to make a big stop. That's a 5th sack by the 49ers. And that's 5 sacks for this defense in each of the last 3 games, and it's blocked! Up into the air and spinning inside the 10, picked up and a touchdown!
Yeah, that's probably a tough one to have to relive, but that's in the past, right? We're in the now, okay? There's no way this could possibly be history repeating itself, right?
Brady goes for the deep shot. He's got a touchdown! Scotty Miller! Oh, my God!
Okay, look, I swear, what happened last year and the year before was just a fluke, okay? I'm not sure where that... Hey, what the hell?
Handoff is to Mostert. They cannot stop the run. 2nd down and 9. Here he is again. Mostert touchdown, his 3rd.
I'm not even the one showing clips anymore. This is getting really weird. I'm just going to go ahead and try to move on from...
Thomas showing blitz. He comes with a blitz. Falcons pick it up, and there's Jones. Flag is down. Julio Jones with a catch. Still going. Still inbounds. Touchdown, Atlanta. But a flag is down back at the 35.
Okay, is that are we back? Are we back? All right, that's enough. I think we get it, football gods. Enough is enough. Let's go ahead and leave Packer fans alone. I'm sure that was a lot to handle. Let's go ahead and try to move on to what we're here for, and that is what the Packers tried to do to get over the hump in the upcoming season to try to push forward to get another sweet Lombardi trophy. Now, I want to start off by talking about Aaron Rodgers and his contract situation, so hopefully we don't have any more mess-ups or glitches for the rest of the video. So let's go ahead and try to move on. And this might come as a bit of a surprise to learn if you haven't been living under a rock for the past couple months, but the Green Bay Packers re-signed future Hall of Fame quarterback Aaron Rodgers to a 3-year, $151 million contract extension to stay in Green Bay through 2026. Now, personally, as a Bears fan, this is absolutely terrible news. I was one of the few who truly believed he was destined for greener pastures like Denver and was set to join the likes of John Elway and Peyton Manning as Broncos royalty. But I was rudely awoken when I came to find out the man signed for $151 million over 3 years because money is more important at this stage in your career than winning Super Bowls, I guess. Now, when looking at this situation past the surface as a Chicago fan especially, you see now that Aaron staying in Green Bay is actually wonderful. And hold on, because I know I just heard every Bears fan out there give off a gasp of shock and probably disgust from their bodies, but hear me out, okay? Green Bay just had to gut their roster to bring Aaron back, right? There is no Davante Adams. There is no Valdez-Scantling. There is no Zadarius Smith. The Packers let all of these playmakers walk or traded them away in the offseason, all to make room for Aaron and his stacks of cash. So as a Bears fan, and having time to think this through, I love this move. There's nothing more I would love to see than Aaron Rodgers in a Packers uniform next season, because the Bears are rebuilding. Yet again, this is nothing new, unfortunately, but this really doesn't affect me emotionally for my team's sake. They're going to take a beating next year, without a shadow of a doubt. And when I get to my Bears review, oh boy, do I have some things to say about them. Just wait. But for now, let's go ahead and stick with Aaron in the pack. Now, I thought that Rodgers would finally be at the stage of his career where he would start to think more along the lines of Tom Brady and what he did in New England and is now doing in Tampa Bay. Take a team-friendly deal so that you can surround yourself with the best weapons and playmakers available, right? We know this is Tom's formula and has been his formula for success, and it has proven results. That's why the man has 7 rings and not 1. He knows football. And that football, at the end of the day, is and always will be a team game. It's truly unfortunate, looking at this from an unbiased perspective, that Aaron still doesn't seem to get it or flat out doesn't care. He really thinks he is the football version of Superman, and I respect him for thinking so highly of himself because he truly is one of the best to ever play the position. But with that said, this is not the NBA. You're not Michael Jordan, and for as talented, skilled, and smart as Rodgers seems to be on the football field, he can't seem to get hero ball out of his head. Now, when I use the term hero ball, I don't mean he pulls a Carson Wentz and tries to make a Hail Mary play out of nothing every single time he steps on the field. Okay, Rodgers is more than happy to take what the defense gives him and live to fight another day. We've seen him do this countless times. That's not what I'm arguing. I more so mean this in a sense that he thinks he is the team. Okay, I know that he has come out and said that he loves his teammates and supports them and all this stuff, which are all of the right things to say, right? That's not what I'm arguing. He says the right things. And I'm sure him and Davante Adams especially are still close to this day, even after his departure to Las Vegas. What I mean is that he truly believes he is enough to beat anyone and everyone on any given Sunday, which he is. But this all comes back to the sport of football being a team game, okay? If everybody could play every position at the same time, I'm sure there are guys out there who would try it, especially if it meant more money, okay? And unfortunately, that's why we have positions in the game. Even if Deebo Samuel is trying to get rid of positions because the guy is just so damn talented, God damn it, Deebo, stop trying to ruin my point, okay? But seriously, I honestly feel like the Green Bay Packers could have 2 or even 3 more chips over the last decade plus if they would have played their cards better. Because they do deserve some of the blame here. This is not all on Aaron Rodgers. It's not all his fault. Even if it might seem like I'm dogging him, okay? I like Aaron Rodgers. In fact, I love Aaron Rodgers. This is coming from a Bears fan. I love Aaron Rodgers. I really do. It's just my biggest slight against him is him taking this contract. I know the majority of folks out there, okay? And I'm probably going to take a lot of heat for this one, but I know a lot of folks out there preach time and time and time again. I'm so happy to see these guys get paid, okay? You hear it all the time. And all this other stuff like it. Like, yeah, that's great, and you should make a lot of money, and you should be making a lot of money for being the best in the world at what you do, right? But don't you want to win? Don't you want to win too while getting paid? I mean, players can't be this oblivious to the salary cap. It does exist. It's real. Okay, it's very real. If you truly loved the game and wanted to win more than anything else in the world, you would have taken a few less million. That's all I'm saying, okay? Take a few less million. It lets you keep your playmakers around. But this goes for everybody out there on a big contract, not just Aaron Rodgers. Okay, receivers do it too. Cornerbacks do it. Literally every position out there does the same thing. If you want to win, take less money. It's been proven. It's been proven time and time again that it works. If you want to win games, take less money. Okay, I feel like I drug that out way longer than it should have been to start this video, but that was a topic that I really wanted to cover in some kind of detail. Okay, I think it's a lot bigger deal than some, so, let me know in the comments how you feel about Aaron Rodgers' contract situation. Like I said, I'm probably going to get a lot of heat for my take on it, but with that said, let's see how Green Bay tried to work around Rodgers' contract and who they brought in to help the Pack reach yet another NFC Championship game. With the departure of Valdez-Scantling and St. Brown and the trading of Davante Adams to Vegas, the Packers' receiving core was looking a little bare, to say the least, so the Pack decided to give A-Rod some help by signing former Kansas City Chiefs wideout Sammy Watkins to a 1-year deal worth up to $4 million for the upcoming season. Now, the 29-year-old is coming off of one of the most lackluster years of his entire career, and with the Chiefs, where he finished as the league's 68th best wideout per Pro Football Focus. Now, he capped off last year with 27 catches for 394 yards and a touchdown. Now, he didn't see a lot of action in the Chiefs' offense, but this shouldn't be surprising, and I don't really blame him for that, with the likes of Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce taking the majority of the touches. However, a statistic that really stands out when you look at his numbers from last year is his yards per catch, where he finished with a highly respectable 14.6 yards per reception. Now, that's on par or close to some of the best wideouts in the league, believe it or not, but the problem has never been his yards per catch. It's always been his ability to catch the football. Okay, and I hate to say that, but that and staying on the field, okay, over his 7-year career, the former first-round pick by the Buffalo Bills has missed a total of 29 games in that time frame. That's roughly 4 to 5 games a season. On top of this, Watkins' catch percentage is well below league average, sitting at just 58% for his entire career. That and just 55% last season in Kansas City. Now, I don't have anything against Watkins. I think he can be a fun guy to watch. He certainly had some awesome moments in Buffalo, but since leaving the Bills, he hasn't really found a true home yet, despite spending the last 3 years in Kansas City, where he finished with just 129 catches, 1,600 yards, and 8 touchdowns over 3 seasons. Now, it's been disappointing to say the least, but maybe Aaron Rodgers is the guy he's been waiting for. You know, not to say that Patrick Mahomes couldn't have been that guy, but he already had a stacked offense all the way around when Watkins arrived. So now Sammy is going to have the chance to fight for that first-string wideout position this summer in Green Bay, and could possibly be looking at the best season of his career, believe it or not, especially with Aaron Rodgers throwing him the football. But only time is going to tell. You know, I think Green Bay made a good signing here, low risk, high reward, especially with all things considered. So I just want to wish good luck to Mr. Watkins next year, and hope that he's able to revitalize his career in the frozen tundra. Now, another receiving threat that the Pack was able to secure on a 1-year, $3.75 million contract was tight end Robert Tonyan. Now, Tonyan didn't see a lot of action last season, as he spent the majority of the year on the shelf with a torn ACL he suffered in a Week 8 matchup against the Arizona Cardinals last year. The Packers, seeing that Robert could probably become a reliable option at tight end, handed him this contract on a prove-you-can-still-play type of deal, which sounds harsh. It really does, but at the end of the day, the NFL is and always will be a business first and foremost. Now, with that said, a torn ACL is seemingly becoming easier and easier to recover from. Okay, it's certainly not the career ender that it was back in the 70s and 80s. Okay, if Tonyan is able to bounce back from this, he could prove to be a very steady receiving threat for Rodgers, especially in the red zone, okay, where Robert was able to bring in 13 touchdowns in 2020 and part of 2021. We know how dangerous tight ends can be in this area of the field. Okay, pairing Robert with a quarterback like Aaron Rodgers could prove to have some very, very fruitful outcomes for the team. But much like the Sammy Watkins deal, this one may take some time to determine whether or not it was the right move, but for $3.75 million, there really isn't much risk here for Green Bay. Okay, if he doesn't work out, you obviously let him go at the end of the season, and he's off your books, you're good to go. But I truly believe this was the right move to make, especially given their current state of affairs, and not to mention that he's a fan favorite, much to my dismay. And trust me, it's to my dismay. Tonyan is a good player. He's a very good player, and every single Packers fan I've encountered absolutely adores this man. So good on the Pack for yet another cheap yet substantial signing. Okay, I'm sure Packers faithful everywhere are cheering to have this guy back in green and yellow for yet another season. Okay, before we talk about the defense, I want to talk about a move the Packers made on special teams. They made a signing this offseason, stealing one of my favorite current Bears players right now, and that would be punter Patty O'Donnell. Now, Pat has been the punter and holder for the Chicago Bears over the last 7 years, and I've grown very fond of Pat over that time frame. So to see him sign with a division rival for $4 million over the next 2 seasons, it kind of sucks. It stings a little bit, but only for a few seconds. It all goes away. After all, it's not like the Bears have a history of giving away consistent kickers for next to nothing, but I wouldn't know anything about that, right? Robbie, I'm sorry. It wasn't my call. I swear, dude. I just want you back, man. Robbie, please come back. Okay. Oh, sorry. Sorry about that. I got a little emotional for a second, but anywho, O'Donnell is among the league's average punters. He's never had any issues holding snaps or anything like that. He's very average, but he's very consistent. Okay. I'm not sure how else to explain that. He's a punter. I'm doing my best here. But you don't really notice Pat is on your team, and I mean that in the nicest way possible, but I tell you what, you're glad that he's there, because at the end of the day, he never messes anything up, and he's a good teammate. So for Green Bay to bring him in for $2 million a season to patch up anything that they didn't like in that area of expertise is a solid signing in my book. Pat, you know I'm going to miss you, man, but I hope you enjoy being a cheesehead for a couple seasons. It's always nice to try something different. You'll always be a Bear in my heart. Remember that. But nice move by the Packers here. You know, the game of football, it really is a curious thing. And in the case of Devondre Campbell, I'm sure he's as excited today to be a Packer as he was when he signed his initial contract with the team at the beginning of last season. You know, he's a guy who sat on the Falcons for 4 years, putting up solid numbers, especially in 2019, but was eventually let go due to salary cap restraints that they're still suffering from today. He then spent a year in the deserts of Arizona before ending up in Green Bay, where he became an absolute monstrosity. Green Bay made one of the most important signings on defense this offseason, if not the most important signing on defense this offseason, when they locked up the all-pro linebacker to a 5-year, $50 million contract with $15 million guaranteed. Now, this is a steal when you really look at the contract and break it down. As a Bears fan, you hate to see it because this guy is an animal. His energy is through the roof. He's smart. He's fast. He's patient. He plays the game as if he already knows what you're going to run before you run it. Right? And there's a reason some consider him to be the best linebacker in the NFL right now, even after just one breakout season. Now, you guys don't know, unless you're a fan of one of these other NFC North teams, how frustrating it was to see this guy cause mayhem against your team in not one, but 2 games last year. He literally does it all for Green Bay, and he makes it easier for every single player on that Packers defense to do their job. Now, I think last season is a prime example of this, because it's almost like he's the Tony Romo of the defense when it comes to him reading plays. I mean, that's how well he does it. When Romo is on TV and in the booth telling the audience what's going to happen before it happens, Devondre does that, but as a middle linebacker, in real time, on the football field. Now, last year, according to Pro Football Focus, Campbell played 91.6% of defensive snaps, third most among Green Bay defenders last year. He was a do-everything type of guy for the squad, accumulating 145 tackles, 2 interceptions, 2 sacks, and 2 forced fumbles, all while serving as the defensive signal caller. That's right, I mentioned it earlier, middle linebacker. Now, on the same day the Packers released one of their former defensive cornerstones in Zadarius Smith, it was all but key that they retained Devondre and his skill set at all cost. Now, after signing, Campbell was quoted as saying, quote, "It's a dream come true," when responding to his return to the Pack after his all-pro breakout season. With so many questions surrounding the offseason and the offense in Green Bay, they did what they needed to do, which was bring back who they could to keep the defense as concrete as possible, all while fitting everyone under the salary cap that they could, which, to say the least, the Pack is pushing the limits of and will only continue to feel those limits and those strains over the next few years. Packer fans might not like to hear it, but this gives me serious Atlanta Falcons vibes, and that the team is headed for cap space hell very, very quickly, which is what led Atlanta to let Devondre Campbell walk a couple years ago to begin with. Okay, if I'm a Packers fan, which I'm not, but if I was a Packers fan, I might want to keep this in the back of my mind when approaching the next couple off seasons. This is just something to think about for the future. But with that said, I want to wish Devondre nothing but the best, and I'm sure he will continue to terrorize me as well as the rest of the NFC North for the years to come, and I'm sure he'll continue his success next year and become an even better player in 2022. Now, my favorite signing the Packers made, and the one that makes me lose my mind as a Bears fan, is the signing of cornerback Rasul Douglas. Okay, Green Bay signed the breakout corner to a 3-year, $21 million extension with $5.3 million in guaranteed money. Douglas is a former Super Bowl champion, winning it all with the Eagles as a rookie back in the 2017-18 season. Now, since then, he stuck around in Philly for the next couple years, not really doing a whole lot, but wasn't bad by any means. He then went to Carolina for a season where he set a career high in tackles with 62, but didn't really do much else there. So after his stint in Carolina, the Packers decided to take a flyer on him, and boy, did he show out in the green and gold. It took him a few weeks to catch on in Green Bay, but Rasul made the most of his opportunities by having the best season of his career. In just 9 starts and 12 total games played, this man had 5 interceptions, 2 of which he took to the house, 57 total tackles, and a forced fumble. Okay, in his previous 4 seasons, Douglas had a career total of 5 interceptions, and he was able to double that in just 12 games with the Packers. That's pretty impressive stuff if you ask me. Quite the turnaround. According to Pro Football Focus, they thought enough of him at the end of last season to rank him as the 16th best corner in the entire league. Now, that's not too shabby considering he wasn't even top 30 in terms of corners during his previous 4 seasons in the league. I think next year he could break out even further alongside fellow defensive back Jair Alexander, who the team extended through the 2026 season. Okay, he's making a shit ton of money as well, and deservingly so. But those two going into next season together are going to be a scary duo for sure, especially if you're in the NFC North. Okay, I don't think I need to waste time talking about Alexander because we all know how good he is. I've watched that guy dismantle my Bears for the last 3 years, and I'm just going to tell you, I'd rather keep that talking to a minimum, as this video was hard enough to make from an unbiased perspective. But we're going to go ahead and finish strong here just for you guys. So finishing up the Packers 2022 offseason, you didn't think that I was going to mention the Packers and not talk about the NFL draft, did you? Of course you didn't. You always save the juiciest topics for last, am I right? So you know I'm going to start off with this question. Green Bay, what the hell was that draft? What happened? And why is Jameson Williams not a Green Bay Packer, but instead a Detroit Lion? That I would very much like to know and understand their thought process going into that and why that is the current situation we're dealing with in reality. Because the Vikings practically gave the Lions the 12th pick. And it seems like Green Bay was content with just waiting, just standing by, even though that they didn't have a pick until spot 22. Okay, now maybe there's something I'm missing here. But it seems like the overwhelming majority of fans, especially those who are not Packer fans, don't get why they didn't move up either. It seemed like destiny for the Packers when they let Davante Adams go to the Raiders, that the team was going to find its next savior in the draft. So instead of trading up to get a star receiver for Aaron to throw to next year, they not only sat on the number 22 pick, but then decided to do the unthinkable, guys. They drafted Quay Walker, a linebacker out of Georgia. Let me say that again, a linebacker. The Packers drafted a linebacker at pick 22. Okay, but with that said, I want to be very clear. I do not have anything against Quay Walker, nor do I wish him ill will. But if you're a fan of the Packers, you have to be scratching your head here. I mean, I'm a Bears fan and I'm scratching my head. This is what you held out for? This is worth not taking a wideout in one of the deepest wide receiver drafts of the last 10 years? I find this pick questionable at best. And I mean, it's taken a lot for me to put that at questionable. Okay, you can hear me stuttering. I'm very frustrated with this pick. And I'll tell you something that's really funny as a Bears fan to watch, or that I did watch in real time, I should say, was that on draft night, I was witnessing my sworn rival, my arch nemesis, take not one defensive player in the first round, but two. That's right, guys. Ladies and gentlemen, if you thought it couldn't get any worse for the Green Bay Packers, you would be sadly mistaken. The Packers also held the 28th pick in the 2022 NFL Draft, so grievances the fans had with the first selection could be forgotten with this next pick very easily, right? You throw that out the window. But instead, in typical Green Bay fashion, they selected another defensive player, a defensive tackle, and Quay Walker's teammate, Devontae Wyatt. You almost can't make this shit up. I mean, you really can't. They sat on their two first-round picks, who they used on a linebacker and a defensive tackle, knowing that the best receiver on the roster going into the draft was, any guesses? Allen Lazard. I mean, you can make an argue for Randall Cobb, but Allen Lazard. Yeah, not by any means, your wide receiver 1. Might not even be your wide receiver 2. Now, I might have some bias because I'm a Bears fan, but I guess I just can't wrap my head around is that you still had guys like Jahan Dotson and Trey Burks that were still available after Williams was taken. So why didn't you make a move to get either one of them? You could have packaged your 28th pick along with something else, I don't know what, some later round picks or future picks. I feel like they could have very easily done this, but for some reason, it wasn't done. I just don't understand. Okay, I know I'm playing the role of armchair GM here, and that's probably why I'm not in an NFL office somewhere, but either way, you could have very easily traded one of your defensive picks to help out your quarterback, who, mind you, you just gave $151 million fat ones to. That's just a thought. So instead, the Packers settled for Christian Watson with their second-round pick, who, again, is not a bad prospect by any means, but was not anywhere close to the level of a Jameson Williams or a Treylon Burks. Now, of course, both of these guys could end up being total bust, but when you watch the film out there, I mean, there were many guys the Packers could have considered to move up for. Now, perhaps Watson was their guy the whole time, and they were content, but I mean, man, it just seems like a wasted opportunity with what all they had going into the draft and all the holes they needed to fill on the offensive side of the ball, especially at receiver. I feel like I've said it a million times. So I guess I just don't know. Time is going to tell. Time is going to tell, which has been a theme with most of these guys. But, man, Green Bay fans, I feel for you. But as a Bears fan, man, this makes me happy as shit, let me tell you. I'm one of the happiest guys out there to see you guys choke on another wide receiver draft pick or lack thereof. Now, that's not to discredit Watson or anything that, Christian could do in the league. He could end up being a great receiver. He could end up being a top 10 guy for all I know. I have no idea. Like I said, time is going to tell, but man, Green Bay, what a roller coaster of a draft. I mean, I was into it, and I hate the Packers. Man, let me know your guys' thoughts about the Packers draft in the comments below for sure. But let me go ahead and move on here to predictions and expectations. I believe the Green Bay Packers will go 12-5 during the 2022-23 NFL season. Now, this might sound too high for some people out there who think the Packers have lost too much talent, and to the home crowd, it might sound like a low ball prediction, but to me, I wanted to be somewhere in the middle. They seem to always split with the Vikings no matter what year it is, so I'm going to make that an automatic loss. Okay, sorry. Not to mention they have to play the likes of the Rams, the Bucks, the Bills, the 49ers, and the Cowboys. Okay, it's hard to believe that they go undefeated against the likes of all 5 teams there. And the reason that they're not lower on my list is that they're obviously going to sweep the Bears and probably the Lions next year, even though the Lions always seem to show up against the Packers and play hard. I like what Dan Campbell has brewing up in Detroit. I love him as a coach. But I think they're still a year or two away from being competitive, like really competitive. So with 2 season sweeps, that's 4 wins already. 8 more to go to get to my expectations and meet those. And that doesn't seem too far off for me, even with the drop in talent, as some people would argue, and I could agree with. But how do you think the Packers handled the 2022 offseason? Do you agree with my takes? Do you disagree? Do you think they're trash? Either side of the aisle you decide to stand on, I'd love to hear about it in the box below. As always, remember to hit that like button if you enjoyed, and maybe even consider subscribing for more NFL content. Now, if you're here, that means you made it to the end of the video, so just know that I really appreciate you. You're awesome. You guys are the real MVP. My name is Big Gav, and I'll see you next time. Peace.